Hyrule, a once populous land ruled by the Hyrulean royal family, known for its beauty, wildlife, and interesting land formations. While Hyrule may seem empty at first glance, if not sparsely populated from the Great Calamity, there are still quite a bit of settlements left if you look very closely. From Hylians to the Rito to the Zoras, Hyrule still has many different citizens living here. But what settlement has the most people? Well, that's the question I'm going to be answering today. Yes, I've had to go through the process of walking through every town to count every single citizen, child, business owner, farmer, etc., just to perform a census of Hyrule. There are a total of 9 major settlements in Hyrule, excluding Korok Forest, sorry guys. And I'm going to be ranking them from the least populous to the most populous. Now, when it comes to this census, I want to make it very clear that this is a census of the settlements of Hyrule and not a census of every single person in Hyrule, as that would take way too long. I also want to say that I'm gathering my information from Tears of the Kingdom and not Breath of the Wild, as it's more up to date. First, I have to lay down a few ground rules on who I'm going to be counting in this census. I'm going to count permanent residents, children, farmers, business owners/workers, guards, and leaders. I'm not going to count travelers, researchers, people there for business purposes, and tourists. In addition, if someone at another settlement claims to live in another settlement, then instead of counting them for where they are now, I'll count them towards the settlement that they claim residency at. I also want to make it clear I am not counting stables nor marketplaces like Karakar Bazaar, as they're more of pit stops or independent markets rather than being settlements. Lastly, I'm going to include places of close proximity that are most likely owned by settlements, like Mipha's Court and Zora's Domain or the mining section of Death Mountain. And with that, let us begin. Starting up our list, we have 9th place with Terrytown, with 12 people, which makes sense since it's the smallest and most recent settlement in Hyrule. However, despite Terrytown's small size, it was probably one of the toughest settlements for me to determine its citizens because of one thing: the construction site. In the construction site area, there are these Goron workers that are employees of Hudson Construction. If I were to count them, then I would also have to count all the other employees scattered all throughout Hyrule. I also wasn't sure if they lived in Terrytown or Goron City, as they don't move anywhere, so just to be on the safe side, I decided to exclude them. Aside from that, Terrytown's residents include Granison, Capson, Ruli, Ronson, Haggy, Honey, Hudson, Pellison, Fison, Minari, Moggs, and Grayson. Now some of you are probably wondering, why didn't you include Link? Can he buy a house and technically become a citizen of Terrytown? While that is true, he also travels far more than he does living in Terrytown, so he wouldn't really be considered a permanent resident in an actual census, which is why I didn't include him. And with that, let's go to the next village. In 8th place, we got Lurelin Village, my favorite settlement, with a total population of 14 people. Now in the game, Lurelin was actually destroyed by a band of Bokoblins and Lizalfo pirates, and there's a quest that you can do to help restore the village. Now for the sake of the census, I had to defeat the bad guys and help repair it with Bolson in order for me to properly count the residents. The people who live in Lurelin are Rhodes, Rolara, Numar, Razel, Kayana, Sebasto, Zuda, Kenoff, Chesica, Cloyne, Griani, Arms, Bolson, and Shinia. 7th place is actually a tie between Kakariko and Lookout Landing, with both settlements having 15 people each. Let me start with Kakariko first. I was actually a bit surprised at Kakariko's population, as I thought it would be bigger, probably because of all the Zonai researchers that are there. Counting the residents there was actually quite straightforward, with the people living there being Rala, Triska, Katla, Coco, Dorian, Impa, Clary, lastly, Nana, Paya, Meli, Ali, Olkin, Steen, and Kato. As for Lookout Landing, it was probably the most difficult settlement for me to count. The first problem with Lookout Landing to me was wondering if I should even count it in the census, as it's only a temporary base. But since it kinda is technically a settlement in the game, I counted it. Many were just travelers or soldiers, which didn't count, while others might have came from another village, but I'd have no way of knowing. However, since the regular people didn't leave the area, I just counted them as citizens. I was also originally counting Robbie and Joshua, but I figured that since they were really there for research purposes, they probably should have just been dropped. The people in Lookout Landing that I counted were Mondi, Drozer, Kapora, Asa, Lessie, Borar, Jambo, Lester, Mubs, Scorpus, Monte, Jaren, Pura, Bermano, and Kasi. In fifth, we got Rito Village with 19 people. Like Kakariko, counting the residents wasn't too difficult. The only thing different was the flight range area, but I counted them. The residents of Rito Village include Gassane, Sicily, Ganelli, Misa, Nek, Cree, Kotz, Cole, Cassia, Knots, Badoli, Mali, Teba, Tulin, Sake, Canelli, Amelia, Verda, and Hearth. Zora's Domain is in 4th place with 30, a big jump from the previous village. Zora's Domain was interesting because it had a lot of connected areas like Mifa's Court, the dam, etc., as well as a lot of side quests that would actually bring residents back to the domain, like Frank's wife or Koda's daughter, Finley. However, after completing the side quests, the Zoras of Zora's Domain include Riven, Dunmaw, Frank, Marat, Clef, Laflat, Dento, Koda, Kaden, Lady Yona, Torfeo, Tadaka, Tula, Tona, Laruda, Hyato, Kiyi, Tumbo, King Sidon, Dorfian, Kira, Chroma, Sagan, Gaddison, Trello, Leto, May, Muzu, Baz, and Finley. Alright, we're here. The top 3 most populous cities. If you're at this point, then thank you so much for watching thus far. Anyways, in third, we have Hateno Village with 32 residents. Fun fact, Hateno is actually the largest settlement in the game, which kind of makes sense due to the higher population count. The only unique thing I've noticed about this village is that there was actually one resident that was located in another settlement named Thad, that was actually located in Lookout Landing. But when talking to him, he tells Link that he wishes to return to his family in Hateno, meaning that his position there is only temporary. Okay, so post-editing note before I show this list. Sorry if I sound weird, I'm a bit sick right now. But while I was editing, I realized that I forgot to mention 2 of the residents' names, those being Senna and Tebow. You'll see them on the screen, but you won't actually hear me say it in the recording, so I just thought I should mention that. The citizens of Hateno include Tamina, Nak, Nera, Neb, Karen, Princess Zelda, Ivy, Bruce, Amira, Azu, Sophie, Manny, Selden, Safaro, Sage, Simon, Meta, Mayor Reed, Clavia, Prima, Wharton, Leop, Uma, Pants, Koyan, Talk, Aster, Cece, Nikki, and Thad. Second place goes to Goron City with 35 people. Goron City was pretty easy in the city segments, but was quite difficult on the outskirts of it, like Death Mountain or just the entire mining area in general. There was also a sneaky little guard that was like a million miles away from the city, right here. I also wasn't sure about all the Hylian workers like the ones near Bedrock Bistro and Unibo Co. HQ, since the rules state that workers would count for that area, but since Hylians don't typically live in Goron City, I didn't count them. The confirmed residents are Cook, Gomo, Baron, Tool, Doro, Bage, Heel, Kabata, Blandon, Schmid, Crane, Pyle, Trey, Volcon, Regaro, Bluto, Unibo, AJ, Tanko, Axel, Borin, Django, Fugo, Rohan, Gongoron, Carbon, Dugby, Drac, Pleer, Kubo, Kresh, Clamp, Mata, Bargo, and Grap. Alright guys, we're here. First place. Now, when I performed the census on the city, I was really surprised as I didn't really expect the population to absolutely eclipse all the other settlements. Anyways, the most populous city in all of Hyrule is Gerudo Town with a population of 54. The results here genuinely shocked me. I mean, I really expected the population to be like 25, maybe 30 at max, but no, a whopping 54. Wow. What's crazy is the fact that Gerudo Town is not the biggest settlement, so the population density is huge. The only outskirts I counted was the foot race rally and the ice house. Yep, that's right, I didn't include Car Bazaar as it's an independent market and not part of Gerudo Town, which just makes Gerudo Town's population all the more shocking. The list of the residents is going to be long, so be prepared. The residents are Dora, Moreno, Lauren, Jules, Estan, Danda, Delton, Madison, Aklet, Kara, Ferosa, Hiaido, Pyra, Sumati, Ulu, Roma, Ardia, Spira, Nelly, Reza, Plaka, Lady Riju, Pada, Pearly, Caliban, let me catch my breath, Lashley, Pokey, Frelly, Babby, Schmad, Marta, Tike, Barda, Leana, Lena, Kata, Nali, Rima, Essa, Lane, Pratana, Greta, Perta, Fagran, Kalani, Makor, Ratana, Ashley, Sojri, Enki, Dali, Kata, Laria, and finally, Isha. Well, that was it. The census of the settlements in Hyrule. There were plenty of times when I performed the counting where I was surprised, and many times where I was stumped and not sure what to do. So let's do a quick recap, alright? Terrytown has 12 residents, Lurlin has 14, Kakariko Lookout with 4, Rito Village with 19, Zora's Domain had 30, Hateno has 32, Goron City has 35, and Gerudo Town has 54 people. With all the numbers added up, the combined total of all the residents of all the settlements is 226 people. Now, this number is probably nowhere near to the actual amount of people in Hyrule, but again, this is just for the settlements and not all of the land. What's the takeaway from this? Well, there's quite a lot of NPCs in the game, and now I can go to bed, knowing that I now know a good chunk of them. Now, I'm sure I probably made a couple of errors since this is my first video, so comment down below to give me some feedback. Thank you so much for watching this video, and enjoy the rest of your day or night or whatever.